Welcome to ATB TV. I'm Darren Dance here with Peter Morganti on December 18. Pete, 1 week out. This time next week, I reckon you'll be on your third can and your fourth piece of ham.
And about a bowl of peanuts and a bowl of chips and 400 lollies, and I'll be sitting around thinking, still got to eat lunch.
Move. Hard to believe Christmas is 7 days away.
Considering the interesting year we've had, it's amazing. You'd think the time would go slower.
But yeah, it's interesting. Got a few outbreaks of COVID in New South Wales, so I guess we're all standing by to see what happens there over the next few days. So yeah, very uncertain times leading into Christmas for everyone, but good to see, Pete, 5,000 going back to the races on the weekend.
Yeah, getting back to normal a little bit, at least in Victoria. Like you said about New South Wales, it'd be concerning for people that might want to just slip across the border if they're going to tighten up those restrictions again. But yeah, no, good to see people back. I know it's still a little bit, got to keep away from the participants. That bubble has to be kept around them, but just to get people back on course, a little bit of normality will be good for the game.
Interesting now, in terms of the procedures for owners. We did put out an update on what the current situation was during the week, so we don't want any owners flying down and not registering and not being able to get in again.
No, the best thing to do is to contact each individual club, and you'll get pointed in the right direction there. I don't know what it is. I think it's 50 owners per race. Yeah, so not many are missing out because of not a lot of going back yet, because you sort of get isolated a bit much from what you really would call a day of the races by being able to visit your horse and jockey, trainer, etc. But I think people are just happy to get out in the fresh air if they can.
Well, it's always good to get in there and see your horse run. So
we had a few last week go and attend, which was good.
Yeah, so let's go through last week's runners.
Yep.
Where do we start?
Cracksman, there was a few owners there. See, I won't say finally won, but I think young Laura Lafferty, after the ride at Hamilton, got it absolutely spot on at Geelong, albeit we were probably holding our breath at the 1,000-metre mark. You see this in 58s a lot. A lot of horses that just can't win, they try to get a little edge by getting going early, and Laura's riding the real patient race and ends up with about 6 slow ones around her. But thankfully the gates all opened up, and that horse was far too good for that lot in the end. I mean, he really proved that he was the superior stayer.
I must admit, I think about halfway I was, couldn't swear out loud, but I wasn't happy with where she was. And like you say, when you get in a 58, there's a lot of slow horses that are going to come back on you. Thankfully, the gap opened at the right time and she got going, and the horse was good enough to pick up. So I thought it was a very interesting post-race, Pete, when she pretty much apologised straight out for the Hamilton ride, and was, I think, thankful to stay on the horse number one, and thankful that to get the job done for the owners. And it's a big thrill to all those owners. There's a few Geelong-based owners in there, so to win at their home track meant a lot. And to see the horse win so well, I know it's just a 58, but, he's definitely up to a 70-class horse, I think.
Yeah.
So, he's going to win a few more races, and he might get better with that, because he still is a little bit on the improve, that horse, I think. And I think his best distances are 2,400 or further. So, you can be a bit hard on these horses sometimes when they look a bit one-paced or a bit flat. But I think we'll find in the next couple of runs he's going to prove that he's not a bad horse.
Lindsay said he backed off him in his work just to freshen him up, and all he did was, I think basically from Hamilton he might have one gallop, but everything was in the water. So he's learning about the horse as well, and I think we've seen that a little bit. Well, I know, we say speed, but he put him away. He didn't just grind to the line. He actually was putting links on him in the last 100. So that was a good sign. And there's a 2,600-metre race at Werribee. I think it might be the day before New Year's Eve. And benchmark 64. He's going to carry a similar weight. But gee, it looks a nice progressive race for him, and you would think up on speed around Werribee to take a good one to beat him.
Yeah, tricky track that. Not one of my favourites.
No, but I think Lindsay's thoughts are, if you can get away and win that, the horses put back-to-back wins together, have a little freshen up, and maybe target what we did speak about was some sort of race at Warrnambool, whether it's at the topper end or somewhere in the middle. He's sort of half paid his way in terms of what we bought him for, and just keep aiming at those staying type races.
Yep, perfect.
Saturday, we nearly had the big DD, daily double, running double. We'll kick off with Hasseltoff, who I think the photo finish fooled 99.9% of people that were watching it, and it certainly fooled me. Got beaten an inch. Damien Lane was about a body and a half in front of the other jockey, which I think that's what fooled everyone. He was terrific. Bob of the head. That's all sort of was the difference between a Sandy City winner and runner-up.
Yeah, I still don't understand how he got beat. He looked like he was going to win by a length and a half. And to the other horse's credit, which is a pretty seasoned, tough sort of horse, probably a little bit more hardened than our horse, just fought back with a good effort by John McNeil just to get us on the line. But our horse was super. He was brave. Yeah, just the bob of the head beat him.
Yeah.
What amazes me, Pete, is we're in this racing game, multi-million-dollar industry, and we don't seem to be able to have a camera square onto the finish line in this industry, which would be not too much to ask, I wouldn't have thought, that we could have the camera vision actually above the photo finish vision so that we are square on to the finish post rather than on some angle. Now, I would have thought that wouldn't be too hard to fix in this day and age.
Well, the other one too, Darren, I watch Sydney racing and I know the result of every race as they go past the post because they have that superimposed line across the track. And it's never wrong. You look at it and you go, oh, I've just been bobbed out or I've just got there. Surely that how hard is it to do that? Even a white line.
Don't you just get a crayon and draw it across your screen?
Yeah, well, I would have had a crayon like that for Hasseltoff.
No, he ran super. He's pulled up really well, Robbie told me this morning. So I don't know if he's going New Year's Day or not to Flemington, but no, he's in good order and he's a good horse. He's a nice progressive horse and he's got a good future.
Will Glenn, one of the part owners, he's in the syndicate I've got, he said through the photo finishes of his 5 seconds, and they don't add up to any more than a length. I think he's had a couple of sort of noses or half heads and a neck and a half length. His record could read a lot better.
My answer to that, Will, is why do it to yourself?
Yeah, it's a punishment, isn't it? Anyway, no, he's a good horse going forward for sure. Anyway, the rejuvenation of the week, well, I wouldn't say rejuvenation, but anyway, all the boxes were ticked. Mr. Moneybags has gone bang in the 1400 metre race and got a result first up for Lindsay Smith and the team, and a well-deserved victory for the owners.
Yeah, well, they've been very patient. Hasn't won for probably 2 years, the horse. It was just a feeling amongst the owners that he needed a physical fair. What have we got to lose? Make the change. It's like us. We go to work every day or we get into a routine and you get a bit stale. I'm sure that horse was a bit stale going around Cranbourne and just doing the same old. Down to Warrnambool on the beach, trained out of a half a day yard, just totally changed up. And Lindsay said he was a real handful on the beach when he got there. Didn't like the sea, didn't like the noise, didn't like the kelp, didn't like the seagulls. But, it's just switched him right on. And I thought Ethan Brown rode him a treat. It all worked out, just the right race on the right day. Tempo was perfect. They went hard early. And then when they backed to speed, Ethan was able just to continue at his same rhythm and grab those 2 lengths without actually doing anything. And then on the corner, the horse just loomed, and I thought, well, can't see why he can't win this unless he's not having a go. But to his credit, he won easy. And, you know, credit to Ethan Brown and Lindsay, and credit to the owners for, you know, making the decision to relocate the horse. It's nothing against Robbie or anyone. It's just, I guess there's a lot of horses out there that have been in yards for a long time and they probably just going through the motions. And I think we saw it when Darren Weir was at the peak of his powers, wasn't he? He was getting horses from stables all over Australia and getting them down to the beach, and they've just come out and win first up. So whether they get used to that trick and they go back to their old ways, I don't know. But it certainly was great. The horse is just, I think he's just under the 600,000 in prize money now for a horse that cost 25,000. You know, he's been a wonderful horse to ATB and all his owners.
Yeah, I think the trick, the benefit they got with the beach, they can actually revert back to normal training methods as well. They've got the whole box and dice there. So an interesting one, Lindsay threw the visors away. He doesn't like them at all. So if you're going to have any headgear on, put blinkers on or put nothing on. So, you know, whether that was a little 1%er that helped as well, we never know, but we say it does because he won.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding next up.
Yeah, well, that's right. Freshen him up. I think he's at Tower Hill now, which is a little joint outside of Warrnambool, enjoying 6 or 7 days of not too much, and he'll work him towards a race on January the 16th. Exactly the same race, same distance, and same class, and he'll put possibly young Will Price on, which will claim 3, and he'll bring him in a kilo less than what he won with on Saturday. So running around for another of 120,000, and, you know, all things equal, he should, you know, barriers and all that, he should be hard to beat. Sunday, we had a couple of runners. Lord Lennox and a Robe de Fay, one first up, one second up. Both ran it really well, actually, and start with Lord Lennox. Gee, on the home turn when Jai McNeil took all the shortcuts, he actually ran into second behind the leader. I thought, geez, he might peel off and get past the leader, but fitness just told the last little bit. Would be beaten 2 lengths, I don't think.
Yeah, I think he's in for a good prep based on that. He's had a lot of issues, this horse, since Robbie bought him out from overseas, and he started off really well, and then he just lost his way. He had to be gelded, and then he hurt himself. And yeah, I thought it was a good return. I think every horse on the day won down the centre of the track, so I know he had to take the rail and save that ground, otherwise he would have been out the back. But you know, the run was probably better than it looked, actually, because they were winning down the centre of that track, which is common at Bendigo on that crown. So no, he's in for a good prep, and he'll just get better with racing.
And Robe de Fay was only beaten a couple of lengths, pushed through them late. He's now had 2 runs, and you would think out to a mile next start, he's going to be probably right in his wheelhouse and be hard to beat.
Yeah, he's just a 1,600-metre horse. So if he gets to the mile next start, you know, he'll be ready to rock and roll. But he's another horse that's on track to win, you know, once he gets to a mile.
Following day at Caulfield, we had Sea Princess, and look, it just never worked from the start. And the stable were honest enough to say that probably they got the tactics wrong. I mean, you devise tactics before the race. You're not to know that they're going to walk or meander up front. And look, she pulled out to make a run at them, but it was just no hope. She was never going to run those sectionals to get home. And while she didn't beat a horse home, she was only 4 or 5 lengths off them. And
that can happen. That can really happen at Caulfield, can't it?
Yeah, can.
Where you first time in blinkers, you draw wide, so you think, oh, well, we'll just go back. So you go back, and then they walk, and then you get pulling, and then you got to wheel out, and then they run home in, I don't know, some slick time, and you just got no hope of making any ground because you've wasted energy. You're not breathing. You're not in a rhythm. You're caught wide. It just looks really ugly.
Yeah.
But look, they said they got it wrong. If they had their time over again, they would have just jumped and went forward, and been 3 wide and probably would have run in the top 3. So
Yeah.
it's just part of racing, isn't it? That sometimes it just goes pear-shaped on you. And you could run that race 10 times and that might not happen, and the other 9 goes. So you just don't know these days what they're going to do. That's why I think these jocks have got to have an open mind and not be tied down to too many instructions, because sometimes I think they get on a horse for a big stable and they just want to absolutely ride it to the letter of the law for the trainer so they don't get kicked off, you know. And whereas if you can get a rider that's just say to them, look, you just ride it, you know, if they, you know, just jump out neutral, be where you're going to be, and just, you know, if you're in the most important thing is to be in a rhythm, and if you can get cover, good. But when you jag back and you're pulling, it's just, you might as well go home.
I think that's, and I mean, sometimes we might have a crack at these jockeys, but I think the Damien Olivers and the Craig Williamses quickly revert to plan B if they have to. Right, they can get it wrong.
Yep.
But you'd rather get it wrong trying something that you could win with than going back to the one you couldn't win with. So, yeah, look.
I think they just try. Sometimes they try too hard to please the trainer.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing too, there's a small group of fillies around this 1600, and she's raced against a few of them now, and they're all so even. It's a matter of barriers and the good rides that gets the result. Now, she's actually nominated for Sandown next week. There's only 10 nominations, and it's the same lot again. She probably won't back up 7 days later, but they're a group. They're all pretty even. You'd run them 10 times, and you know probably 6 or 7 of them would win it.
Well, he's always said on Sea Princess she'll be better next prep. She's a late maturing 2,000 metre horse, so she's probably doing a fair bit of this on raw ability and still learning a trade. She's only lightly raced, but you know she's won a maiden to go on and be progressive midweek in town. You know that's a good sign when you've got a horse that's nowhere near its peak.
No, absolutely. So 6 runners, a couple of winners, should have been 3. Couple of nice results, and one where we probably didn't have any hope, only because of the way the race went. I think that's a dozen now, winners. So we've had a good...
I don't think we'd be sacking any of those horses that ran last week.
No, not at all. No, not at all. And probably over the last, I'll just try to think, 3 months, probably had 10 winners. So might even be 3 months. It might be 10 winners in 10 weeks sort of thing. So I think the horses we thought that were coming through have sort of come through, and there's still a few of them there that can win races that just haven't had the opportunity. So we're in a good space with a lot of our team now. Going forward, and as we speak now, tonight we'll have the Valley on. We switch between the cricket and the racing and everything else that's on, but we've got Supreme Thunder, $1.65. I don't know if we've got a good record with odds on horses. He gets his chance, though.
Well, he's clearly the best horse in the race. That's why he's $1.65.
Barrier 1.
But I'll be nervous because every time we have an odds-on horse that looks like it's the best horse in the race, something goes wrong. So already we're worried about, does he handle the Valley? What's he going to do from barrier 1? Is he going to try and lead? You know, is he going to end up 1 behind the leader, boxed in? Because they all know he's the favourite. They all know he's the best horse in the race. So if he gets stuck on the rail, there's no way known they're going to let him out.
And that's the thing. You've got 7 jockeys working against you, haven't you?
So if you try and lead, do they take you on and kill you? I don't know. We just need a bit of luck. He just needs to jump, somehow get one off the fence, I think. But how do you do that at the Valley? Because you're just turning the whole time. So $1.65, yep. You look at the form and you say, yep, he just goes there and he's too good and he wins. I don't know where the rail is. I don't know what the pattern will be. But I think we're going to have our heart in the mouth. But we're going to know at the 400 whether there are any hope here. But I don't know, maybe someone can jump and just go mad up front and break the field up and give him his chance. But if they jump, sit, box, hold us in, yeah, it'll be very ugly. Will I be taking 165? No way, no.
I agree. If something can get along and just roll 2 lengths in front of the main, like he might be able to pop off at the 800. And you won't worry, if he pops off at the 800, I think he'd be too strong for him because he had to make a sweeping run last start. and he held on really well and kept hitting the line. So I think he's
Well,
probably
he's back from the
best
70
bowler.
to a maiden.
Yeah, yeah. So, nah, look, form lines all say him, but you still got to get it done. So
That's it.
Declan Bates on board, so he's been on board the 2 times, so he does know the horse, which is a positive. We're rolling to Colac, and we got Declan Bates again, but this time on Street Baby in a maiden. There's drawn barrier 13, but there's only a field of 10. I think comes into 8 of 10. You talk about Moonee Valley as a tight track. Colac, I'm not sure I'm a fan of Colac, but anyway, I think in terms of the maidens that she's run in, this is probably 2 or 3 lengths inferior. Just needs to get a bit of luck.
Well, once again, I mean, same situation. I mean, you look at the form and you say she looks the winner on paper.
Yeah.
But then you look at the track and you think, well, it's pretty much like Moonee Valley with a big hill going up the back, and then it comes down to the corner, and then it comes into the straight, a short straight. So I'm not sure this track suits her. She's a big striding, get back, well, not get back, but midfield run on type. So, you know, normally they crawl up that hill and then they sprint down the hill and they take off. So there's a lot of horses really suited to this track, you know, those fast, zippy sort of horses. But I've had plenty of horses go their favourite and get beat on this track. So, yeah, I'm not sure this is the right track for it, but I suppose we'll have our fingers crossed.
It's a bit of a mixture between Stall and Hamilton, isn't it? It's tight. You've got the uphill run, the downhill run, and it's, yeah. Anyway, let's hope Declan can get it right, and she deserves a win, and the owners do as well. So fingers crossed.
I think ability-wise, she should be winning. But if she does get beat, it's going to be due to the way that track is configured, and as because she's a big striding horse, that whether she can just pick them up in the straight. You know, I probably see her flashing home late. Whether she can get over them, I don't know.
Placed at Ballarat, Stall, Hamilton, Warrnambool. You know, she's done the rounds of the Western District. Hopefully she can tick it off at Colac. Maisie Motion's in the race, I think just after, out to 2,000 metres. Noel Callow on at Colac, drawn 12 of 12, unfortunately, in a 0 to 58. So the class of the race and out in trip. Yeah, interesting. Disappointing last out of Warrnambool. It's hard to tip her off that run.
He seems happy enough with her. Pat Ryan seems happy enough with her.
Yeah.
She's bred to run 2,000. Noel Callow's a good, strong rider.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know with the track. I don't know if it'll suit her, but the problem here again is that typically in these 2,000 metre races they walk and then they sprint. That's not her go. She's got to be rolling from the 1,000 probably. If they walk, might as well just lead, I reckon.
Well, I was going to say, I
just
hope
make your own luck.
Yeah, I hope Noel makes his own luck. Push forward, because they're not. They all know they're on inferior horses. So you're not going to have too many want to be, going helter-skelter up front. So if he rolls forward and sits in the first 3 or 4 and gets rolling down the hill, that might be her go. Yeah,
well, she's hard, fit.
Yeah.
She'll run the trip. She's got a good rider on. I just hope, if they walk, that we're the one sitting in front giggling, and then he can wind her up from the 1,000 and have a crack. So, she's a filly she's a mare that, we've probably got earmarked to move on. We'll have our heart in our mouth there again.
Mum was a tough 2,000 and 2,500 metre winner at the Valley, and she was able to, do a bit of work and roll along and keep going. So maybe a couple of those genes might pop out at Colac. Sunday, now, Crackerjack Lady was actually in the maiden of Street Babies, but 5th emergency, so no hope of a run there. And stable already planning to go to Sale, where on Sunday she's drawn gate 4, Melbourne Cup winning rider Jai McNeil, who probably owes us one after the weekend. 1,500 metres in a fillies and mares race. I don't mind this girl. She's a legitimate each way winning hope, I reckon. Fillies and mares, 1,500. It's an extra 150.
Yeah.
Fillies,
Well,
great, big track. Yeah.
Well, I think she put the writing on the wall last up, didn't she? She's not far off a win.
Should have ran third. She got that knock coming into the home straight.
Yeah, that's right. It's Kyton, wasn't it?
Yeah, Johnny Allen was on and I can't remember who it was, sideswiped her and just lost her momentum.
Barry Stokes' horse bloody sideswiped.
That's what it was too. Yeah.
And didn't it run fourth at Caulfield the other day?
Yeah, horse? It did. Yeah. Yeah, so that form line's all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And I think they've been pretty happy with her right through the prep, and like that would have cleaned her out nicely. And
so on that form with fitness.
Yep.
Have to go.
Good each way hope. Monday is race-free Monday. We're going to have a good week. We're going to have race-free Monday, race-free Friday with Christmas. Tuesday, Crackerjack Lady's nominated, but obviously we'll see her Sunday. Wednesday, a few nominations, but the likely runners are collectible over a mile. And La Pietra over 1,300, and an Irishman's in a 2,100 benchmark 64. So collectible, obviously that nothing went to plan. Was it Sandown about 2 weeks ago with Dee Oliver on?
Yeah, she didn't pull up that well after that run, so she's been down the beach since. So I don't know, Pete.
Robbie said she put on some good weight.
My feeling is that she might be pretty much done that mare. I think they're just trying to get a win into her and before we get her to the mare sale next year. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be rushing out to back her.
If La Pietra's over her issues, she'd have to be a good chance in a Class 1. She was good at Sandown when she won, and obviously had issues at Moonee Valley.
Yeah, she wasn't right at the Valley, didn't pull up that good, but he tells me she sounded as a bell and her work was good during the week. A Class 1 there, yeah, if she's right, she'll be right in the finish.
Yeah, look, she draws a gate. I presume Dean will probably go on or stay on her. He knows her well. And, yeah, she'd be a betting proposition. An Irishman, he was as tough as nails in that race 9 days ago. Whether they go to the 21, I'm not too sure, but if they do, it's in a funny spot at the moment, this horse, because he's wanting to do everything pretty well out front, isn't he? And I think he's going to be a better horse in time when he probably just settles a little better. In saying that, he's as tough as nails.
Yeah, well, he had a big weight the other day and he went too hard and pulled and, he was entitled to drop out, but he fought on and ran third. But, yeah, like you say, he's got to learn to settle and race. And, I don't think he'll lead here. If he runs, I don't think he'll lead. I think they'll take the opportunity to try and get him in behind something and get him just to come back a bit. So whether they change the bit or what they do to just give the rider a bit more control, and if they can park him behind something, maybe he just learns. If he can settle, he'll go a long way, this horse. But if he's going to continue to race fiercely, it's going to make it hard for him to go through the grades. But he's certainly got the ability. He just needs a bit of re-education, I think, just to calm down and just do it in his stride. So that'll come with time and effort. But as far as next Wednesday goes, if he can jump, travel, settle in behind one and peel out, yeah, he'll be a winning chance. I don't care what's in the race. Yeah, we'll do next week Wednesday, and that'll be our final edition for 2020.
Yep.
And that'll be our Christmas edition, and then we'll close up for 4 weeks while you go and sunbake at Lake Burrumbeet, and I'll keep working.
Might get picked up by the garbage disposals if I'm sunbaking at Lake Burrumbeet. Yeah, anyway, no. Well, we might have a little bit of a review of the year. I don't know what we had. We probably had 25 winners across the year and some nice results, some nice horses through, some horses that have moved on, and yeah.
Well, we picked up 2 new ones this week, Pete.
Yeah, we'll Now, the English online sale, which is where Cracksman come through, and we got a result there. And we've gone back and we've picked up a horse called Naval Warfare, who sold out in 2 hours, Darren. Hardly had time for the promo to cool down, and it was all over Red Rover. And it's a horse that will aim at the Warrnambool Cup next year with Lindsay Smith.
Well, we've been looking for a Warrnambool Cup horse for probably, 2 months. Haven't either been able to find the right horse, or they've made too much money. But this is a really nice horse. He's well, by his standards, he's 6.5 years old, so his age is right. He's an 84 rater, I think, or 86. So he's got the right rating, and his form, excellent. 2 starts ago, second to Sin to Win, who's a proper horse. Last year, he's run third to Street Surprise Baby in the Adelaide Cup. So he's a horse that was purchased originally to go to Hong Kong, to Singapore for the Gold Cup, then with COVID without winning. And they decided then to move him on, and, we're able to pick him up to go solely towards the Warrnambool Cup. And look, after the Warrnambool Cup, he's got form good enough to suggest he can win anywhere from 24 to 3,200 through the winter. Goes on top of the ground, goes in wet ground, goes on any ground apart from rock hard. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that horse. And I think probably 75% of the people went in him are owners who go to the carnival every year, and all they want is a Warrnambool Cup horse. Hence why we bought him. And it wasn't until after we landed him, Pete, that we realised this horse, who was German bred by Born to Sea out of Sea to Stars. And the mother, you wouldn't believe it, but the mother has a name, and it's 3 days in May. And you wouldn't believe it.
You would almost think that was the reason we bought the horse. We didn't know till one of the owners sort of pinpointed it or pointed it out.
I think it was Peter Lynch that sent me a text and said, "Do you know what the mare's name is?" And I had to look it up.
Unbelievable.
Hard to believe. Anyway, hopefully it's a good omen. But no, we'll look forward. He'll be at Lindsay's today, and getting ready, start his prep for the Warrnambool Cup, which I know it's in May, Pete, but you got to go into that race about third up to be any chance.
Yeah.
And you need to be in work now.
No, agreed. He's 4 weeks been in the paddock at Anthony Freedman, so you got to look at 3 runs at least, either third or fourth up. So you got to be racing probably early March.
Yeah,
it's not long.
Anyway. So Naval's Warfare.
And the key to buying these horses, you buy them at the rating where you know they're going to get a run, and he's a certainty to get a run in that race. So all we need now is the form that he showed us to measure up. And the horse that beat him last start at Flemington ran third in the Warrnambool Cup last year, Sin to Win. So you got the right type of horse. There was only 2 legs from the winner. And we'll have less weight than him in that race. So, fingers crossed, but exciting.
And the other mare we picked up was from WA, Pete. Picked up a Street Boss filly. She's a maiden, outstanding looking horse, and she's a full sister to the Group 1 winner over there at Elite Street. Yep. And she's on her way. She'll arrive here next Wednesday. And our whole program there is to win a couple of races with her, or as many as we can in the autumn. And we haven't selected a trainer with her yet. I just want to have a look at her when she gets here, just to see, whether she's a filly that needs to be worked in the deep sand, or whether she's a filly that needs to be a bit of TLC. So we'll just have a good look at her when she gets here. And then obviously our main mission with her is to get her in foal and join part of the broodmare band going forward, because she's a winner, or a full sister to a Group 1 winner. And her progeny will be worth a lot of money. And Elite Street's by no means done yet. I think it'll be over here for the autumn, competing in the Group 1s. And McAvoy bought the half-brother by Nakoni for, I think, 160,000. He said him a couple of wins on the board with her. She'll be a welcome addition to the broodmare band, and she's a cracking type. So there is a couple of shares left in her. If anyone wants to ring me about having a filly to have a couple of starts, try and win some races, and then get some of our outlay back, and then get her off to the breeding barn next year. But by the same token, Pete, if she's going really good, sure either.
Yeah, now surely there's a couple of punters out there that jumped on when Brad Willer tipped Elite Street in the winter bottom. So surely they got a little bit of coin there that they can reinvest in this mare or invest into this mare.
Well, I tell you what, if you've been following Brad Willer in Perth on a Saturday, you'd have no problems buying Christmas presents this year. Last Saturday again, 2 rides for 2 wins, including Trap for Fools, who I don't think's won for as long as Moneybags has won.
How good's that old horse, hey?
And interesting, Pete, it only started 470, so someone filled their pockets up there.
Yep.
Lindsay. Yeah, good job there. But no, I've been pleased for Brad Willer. He's going super over there. He's not getting a lot of rides, but when he gets on one, he just rides them so well, and they're just winning so well. And I sent him a text, Pete, and congratulated him after the win, the double the other day, and said, if you keep doing this, W. Pike will be relocating to the Gold Coast to get away from you.
Yeah. I think he's in a Group 1, a Group 2, and a listed, I think, from 5 city wins. So, good.
You think he'd be getting a full book every week? He's just got so much class there.
I think they'll soon jump on. If he keeps knocking them off, they'll be saying, well, we can't have him beat us. He's got to get on our horses. So,
that's it.
Back to Ethan Brown talking about jockeys. That was good for young Ethan, who's very quiet. We obviously, at different times, sort of knock his post-race, which are fairly laconic. But he was rapt. He was, and I think you spoke to him, I messaged him, and he was actually genuinely rapt to be associated with Lindsay, but actually back riding a winner for us. And
he's had a few rides for us over the years. I know he rode for Largo a few years ago and won on him. I know he's probably had a few rides since. I'm not sure if he's ridden a winner or not, but heavyweight, and he's had his ups and downs, and he actually took a break from the whole game there for a while.
Yeah.
And I think he rode another winner for Lindsay yesterday at Warrnambool, actually.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So, look, he's a good rider. I'd put him on anywhere, anytime, no problem. He can ride, and I think working with Lindsay, you know, him and Laura Lafferty riding a lot there. You know, they're going to kick a lot of goals there, those two.
Smart operator, Lindsay. He said he spotted him a couple of months ago. One ride was a race against him, and he just liked his balance and his style, and he knew the kid wasn't getting a lot of rides, and sort of reached out to him, and you know, they're going to be a good team going forward. He actually, Ethan rode Ransom Money when he won his city race too, was another one going back in the weird days. And I remember the post race that day. It was almost like, well, because he had to work on him to win, and he got in as an emergency, I think, and Ethan was not so complimentary for the horse, but he well placed by the trainer. I think he said about 6 words and just walked off, but that was about probably 4 years ago now, so he's probably got a little bit better in the media side of it. But, no, good kid. Well, I'm done, Darren.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up there because everyone's got to get out to the shops and spend their money and stock up on their food and booze and get some presents and get them wrapped, including me. So we'll leave it there. Our best for the week, well, it's probably Supreme Thunder, isn't it?
Yes.
For fraught with danger.
I'd love it to win. I'd love to see Street Baby win for the owners.
Yeah, I would too. They deserve it. And there's a couple there that I think can win. So, and then we look forward to next week with Sandown. So we're going to come back to you on Wednesday for our Christmas edition, our final edition for 2020, and then let Pete have his. Well, I don't know if it's a holiday when you've got 2 young kids at home full time, but it'll be a holiday away from me anyway.
Yeah, I'll take one over the other, but I might send the kids out to help you. You're still doing a bit of building out there, so I'm pretty sure they'll be a couple of good little apprentices for 3 or 4 weeks.
Mate, happy to have them. Just lock them in stable 5, throw them a bone, and go back a month later.
If you put them in the stable, go buffet each, you wouldn't see them for 4 weeks.
If I'd been at home, it would be.
Anyway, all good.
All right. Until next week, I'm Darren Dance with Peter Morganti. enjoy shopping, wrapping, drinking, and eating. Until next week, Darren Dance, Peter Morgani, have a great weekend.
See you guys.